All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Returning to Eden. This is the place where we talk about all things purity culture. We dive into what it looks like to be a whole, healthy adult where we honor the Lord, honor ourselves, and honor other people. And in today's episode, I have a very special guest for you. Her name is Jackie Dorman. She is a seasoned relationship coach, professional matchmaker, captivating speaker, dedicating nearly a quarter century to empowering women to embrace their true potential. With her unique blend of humor, candid advice, and relatable approach, she has garnered a vast following as a regular contributor on national radio, inspiring millions. Jackie holds the key to thriving relationships, having discovered a profound method to guide countless individuals in nurturing their hearts, fostering openness, and preparing them for a lifelong commitment to marriage. Her Instagram account, which is my favorite part of everything Jackie puts out, brims with engagement announcements, surpassing even the most popular proposal-focused profiles that I follow. That was a lot of P's and F's there. Sorry about that. So welcome, Jackie.
Hi, hello. Hey, Eden. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody.
Well, thank you for joining us today. I so appreciate you. So we don't have a whole lot of time, guys, so we're going to go real fast into these questions. So I want to first hear, Jackie, what you feel like the Lord is saying about millennials and marriage.
Well, I think that millennials are I know that millennials are the biggest generation right now on the earth. And so unless the alphas, the ones that are being born now, outnumber you, you guys are going to remain the king of the hill in that way of being the largest generation on earth. And you're also in that sweet spot of baby making and family creating. Obviously, people get married over the age of 50, and we have a lot of evidence of that in our movement, which is super exciting. And then there are people that get married younger than 25 as well, and that's awesome. But that 26, 27 to 43-year-old age range is the millennial range right now, and it is the sweet spot of people really wanting to partner, wanting to get married, and wanting to build family together. And so I believe that God wants his sons and daughters married. I think so many people, and also the millennial generation is the one that is at most at risk of not getting married because of modern culture. So culture is predicting that age group, whether it's millennials or when the Z generation gets into that age group, by the year 2039, that age group from 25 to 50 is going to be 70% unmarried. And so I really would love to see the millennial generation, which is sitting in that seat right now. They're the ones that are in that age bracket. I would love to see them defy statistics. I would love to see them partner with heaven. I believe that God is calling his kids to show this culture what it looks like to do marriage and family well, and to almost be missionaries, if you like that word, to the marriage and family metron. So many people are opting out of marriage. They're opting to just go solo in life and focus on, their desires and their whatever it is that they want to do. But I love the old saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And so I believe that God is calling the millennials, because they're in that 25 to 50 age range right now, to go ahead and volunteer as tribute. It's not the Hunger Games, but marriage is not for the faint of heart. It will refine you. It will stretch you. And I believe that it's God's maturity plan for mankind. But guess what? It's so worth it. It's not easy, but it is so worth it.
Amen. Oh, I so love that. And I feel that too. I was married before and now I'm no longer married. And it's one of those things where I'm looking around going, wow, the culture has shifted so much. And there are so many people in their 30s and 40s that have never been married, have gone on very few dates. And honestly, there's a lot of people that I talk to and who reach out to me saying that they feel like they've been overlooked by people. They just feel like they don't know how to attract people. So what kind of advice do you give people like that who just feel like they're being overlooked and but they want to be married? What would you tell them?
Well, first of all, the reason why, like you said during my introduction, that we have been able to really have supernatural success in the area of helping people get engaged and married to the tune of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in just the last 33 months is because we do something that's based on a protocol that I created called the heart work. And so first of all, I think that the way you think about yourself it makes all the difference. And it's not about positive mental attitude. It's not about confessions or declarations, because all of that is still coming from here. It's coming from a headspace. But you need to get that positive information about yourself, that you're not left out, you're not left behind, that you're not forgotten, that maybe it hasn't happened yet, but it's still going to happen, especially if you have a heart's desire for it. Get that good stuff from here to here, that 18-inch journey from head to heart, and we call that the heart work. You know, there's scripture in the Bible in Proverbs that says, basically, I'm going to paraphrase it for you and make it understandable, that what you believe about yourself, you become, and what you become, you then attract. So a lot of people know about the New Age kind of law of attraction sort of language. Well, it isn't New Age. It's not. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's silly. That's not real. That's not true, because that's over in a different camp of ideologies and philosophies. It actually, for those of you that, you know, ascribe to the ancient wisdom, the Bible, the Holy Scriptures, it's actually very biblically based. And so we have to deal with our own identity if we're ever going to expect to attract people that see us the way that we want to be seen.
Wow. Yeah, that's so good. So let's say we've done our heart work. We have we have wounds that are probably healed and are ready for the next step. What do you say to people who are ready for that? Like, how do they typically, like, okay, sorry, this is such an odd question, but I am of the opinion, like, I don't know how to flirt. Like, I do not know how to engage the opposite sex, because I was raised in purity culture and I just don't know. It's like a muscle that never developed. And so I'm the kind of person that when I meet someone attractive, I shut down and I'm like, I look away and I don't even know what to do or how to be. So what kind of advice could you give me and my girlfriends that are just like me?
So basically it comes back down to a self-identity situation. The reason why when you meet someone attractive, you look down, you look away, you become timid, you become shy or introverted, is because of something you're internally believing about your value and your worth in that moment. Otherwise, you would just treat that other person like a human being, right? You'd be able to engage them on the same level that you engage people that you don't find physically, sexually, romantically attractive. The reason why you shut down in that moment is because there is an eternal narrative that you're telling yourself about what it looks like to meet someone and for them to be attracted back to you. And so that's what we have to dig down to. So once again, it comes down to the heart work. And this is why the rules of dating and the 7 texts to send a guy in return and all the ways to flirt, this is why they don't work. Because they all live here, but none of it's mirrored here, because it's about, do you believe? So I'll take you, Eden, and we'll just do a little mirroring here, a little one-on-one coaching. Do you believe that you have something valuable to offer a marriage and a partnership?
Definitely.
Okay.
Can you hear
do
me?
you
Yes.
believe
Yes,
that? Do you believe that there's a man out there that could find you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically attractive?
Well, I hope so. You know, the proof is not in the pudding on that one
Okay,
quite
so
yet, but I
so there's the word. You said, I hope so. You didn't say, yes, I do believe that. Because remember, Eden, all you need is one. You don't need a million men to be attracted to you relationally, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Just one man. And so when you say, I hope so, what you're doing is you're guarding your hope. You're guarding, your belief system there in case it doesn't happen for you. And so many women are out there, and men as well, and they're approaching this area of their life with, I'm not really sure this is for me, and I'm not really sure this is going to happen for me. And that sabotages the whole thing.
Wow. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, I am still learning in this, and I so appreciate your advice. And I agree with you that there's always another layer, probably, to all of the things that are going on. So that's awesome. So I have quite a few people around me, and I think it's probably just purity culture, the way we were taught and the way we were raised is the whole God is going to bring you a husband when it's time. I was taught the whole like men are either predators or Prince Charming. It's a whole crazy, crazy thing we don't need to go into. But the whole point is it made me very leery of men until God hand delivered me a husband was really the concept that I had. And a lot of women my age and even older still have that mentality, and they're just waiting, for kind of like UPS Jesus is going to deliver them a husband. So what do you say to that? And how can we encourage women to be more proactive and work on their heart? And because at the end of the day, most of us want to be married. So how do we get from here to there?
Well, once again, it's about our belief systems and not the ones we believe here, because we don't live out of our head knowledge. All right. Behavior follows identity, and identity always comes from here. And so it's what you believe about men here. And it's based on broken archetypes in culture. It's about romance novels. It's about movies that we've been watching. It's about the men that we've been in relationship and in community with, whether it's our fathers or our former husbands, like in your case, or our brothers, or just, men that were in some kind of other kind of community, a spiritual community, a work community. And so all those different things kind of make up all the stuff that you're talking about right now. And so we have to unpack those ideas because, yeah, I understand what you're saying, Prince Charming, and then I call him Prince Alarming, not a predator. So Prince Charming or Prince Alarming, there's a whole spectrum of humanity in between those two. Once again, those are archetypes. We have the villain, and then we have the knight in shining armor, or the victor, or the rescuer. But the truth is that everybody has yellow flags, right? This would be a green flag. This would be a very hot red flag, right? But everybody has yellow flags in the spectrum in between there. The problem is depending on what you believe about this area of your life, what you think it's supposed to look like, what is your meet cute, what's supposed to feel like, how's it supposed to unfold, you can escalate those yellow flags that you're going to have to overcome together in coupledom as you head to partnership. You can escalate them into red, or you could minimize them into green, depending on what your mindset is. You could ignore things that you should never ignore because you're like, you know what? I'm not going to rock the boat. I might not get another chance. I better just go ahead and hold on to this guy. We can work it out. We can overcome it. He can change. Maybe it's no big deal after all. Or you can maximize those things, those things to a red flag where at every turn you don't even get past date 2 because you just are picking out all the flaws, because a critical heart is a broken heart. And so you're picking out all the flaws. You're seeing all the, you're going to DEFCON 1. The first time they say something you don't like, you want to cut and run. And so there's a myriad of different personalities that people have when they're dating. And Eden, it's important to understand that you may not have this personality with your friends, within community, within your family, but it's only when romance is on the table, like this is a potential romantic partner, that you start to exhibit one of these kind of counterfeit spectrum personalities when it comes to how you view men.
Wow, yeah, it really does make me feel, as a single lady, it makes me feel like I'm very, very hypercritical of men around me, and it makes me feel a little bit too judgy. So I'm like going, but Lord, something's wrong with this. I'm not this way with anybody else. So it totally makes sense and it resonates. So let's talk about I've heard you talk about attraction and how we're not always attracted in the moment to someone who we may end up married to. So can you tell me a little bit about that and why it's important to go on multiple dates with the same person?
So people, this is the part of my advice, and I have a dating book coming out really soon, this fall, the beginning of fall. This is the part of my advice that has helped so many people actually marry the love of their lives, but they hate it at first. Everyone hates this advice at first because they're like, no, I have to be attracted. I have to be viscerally attracted. Like, I want to be dreaming about him. I want to be writing, future Mrs. whatever on my notebook kind of idea. And I think that it's important to just say that that is a very immature mindset. And it's appropriate for when you're a little girl, like say this is our notebook at school, and we see the boy across the room that we think is so cute, and we don't even understand how hard life is or how hard marriage is. Of course, if we're coming from a broken family, we do. And we're writing Mrs. blah, 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 right? When I was a kid, we used to do this thing called MASH, M-A-S-H. Did you guys do that too, or is that just my Gen X generation?
Oh, yeah.
But you
Nope,
put
yep.
like four
Totally did.
houses you want to live in, like four places, four cars, four guys, and then you do this like little algorithm until it's just one, 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 and then that's the house you're going to live in, that's the car you're going to drive, that's the guy you're going to marry, kind of thing. So it's a very important part, I believe, of of growing up, of like us dreaming about, what our future life is going to look like. Hopefully the little girls are adding like what they're going to do as a career on there as well, right? And what their gifts and talents are, not just what boy am I going to marry and where car am I going to drive, because that generation is, we've come past that. We need to take the good things from that and marry them with the good things from now and understand that this is a partner. This is someone that you're not going to just have sex with. You're not going to just go on vacation with. You're not going to just post cute little Instagram posts about, that you are going to raise up a lineage and legacy with. This is someone that, you're going to hopefully only marry one unless they pass away, until the end of the time on earth. You're going to partner together and you're going to ride this crazy ride of life together, right? And raise children. And once again, that lineage and legacy piece. And so you can't base all of that amazing stuff that's going to come and you're going to be dealing with and going through together on a very fleeting infatuation. How dumb would that be? I mean, it's so temporary, right? And so, yeah, we want to have it, but sometimes we have to let it grow. Infatuation is scientifically proven not to last any longer, at the max 24 months. And so after 2 years, if you haven't already seen what's wrong with that person, if you already don't start realizing that, that they stink sometimes and that they're not always good and they have like some stuff that they really need to work on, if you have those rose-colored glasses on for 2 solid years, then good on you. But normally you're going to take those rose-colored glasses off probably within the first 3 to 6 months. And you're going to be like, wait a minute. And some people that are really broken going into a relationship, they'll start noticing things that they don't like about that person within 2 to 3 weeks, right? Or sooner, maybe 2 to 3 dates, Eden. Like on the 3rd date, you're sitting across from him, you're like, his nose is kind of crooked. I don't know. I don't want my kids to have that nose. You know what? I had a student just recently that was like, I couldn't stop staring at his teeth. Like I didn't like his teeth. And I said, girl, stop looking at this man's teeth. Stop looking at his teeth. Okay? He's an amazing guy. He's someone that you really like. He's someone that has all the attributes, but you're just kind of micro focusing in on that one crooked tooth, because why? Because you're scared. You're scared that this might go somewhere. So if we build an entire relationship on the very small component of physical attraction, that like being the foundation, that relationship is going to topple over at some point because it cannot handle all the beautiful, big largeness of marriage that God wants to give you. And so give the guy a chance that's not your type. Your type is probably based on broken information from your childhood, from rejection, from maybe a crush that you had. I can't tell you how many times people tell me that they know who their spouse is, and it's someone who's not interested in them, someone who's never given them the time of day, but they allow this person to become the epitome in which they compare every other relationship to. And you know what? I'm just going to tell you, Eden, I don't see that happen anywhere except for like really, really very small kind of ideas community, small idea community about love, about romance, and about marriage.
Yeah. What I've been taught in the teachings and the books that I've read is that if someone comes to you and says, God has said you're supposed to be my wife, you run away from them. Because we did get raised in purity culture with this whole like, oh yeah, God can tell you who your husband is, and then you just wait for him and eventually he'll realize it's you. And all the years that I waited, and decisions I made out of hurt that led me into situations that were not healthy,
So many stories. Yes,
Yeah.
It hurts my heart. It hurts my heart to think about just sitting around waiting for someone to pay attention to you. It just really hurts my heart. I've had so many students that have come in, like you said, from that kind of mentality, that philosophy, that ideology. One girl in particular, she thought she knew what her husband's name was, and she waited over a decade to be in community or a relationship with someone by that name. And when he walked through the door, she was like, this is it. this is him. And he actually ended up marrying a friend of hers instead of hers. Never dated her, was never interested in her. And once again, it was just this first name that she felt like. And that's why if you're out there right now and you're listening, and I just was talking to my assistant about this today, because we get questions into Ask Jackie every week, which is part of my mentoring community, where I answer people's questions about, hey, I know who my husband is. They don't know I exist. What should I do next? You should move on. That's what you should do next, because you can't miss out on your spirit mate. And it isn't appropriate, not spiritually or relationally, to sit around and pine away for someone secretly, that once again, you are saying they don't know that I exist. So you have two choices. You can move on and move forward and begin to allow God to confirm those feelings, with signs following, meaning that, they start seeing you or interested in you. Or you could just go up to them and drop the hanky and say, hey, I would love to get together sometime. I'd love to hang out sometime. I'd love to go to lunch. I'd love to go, would you be interested in hanging out with me? And if their answer is no, you have your answer. If their answer is, yeah, I'd like to do that, then you can see where that's going to go. Once again, it's not, you need to surrender those ideas to God about knowing that this person is your person. That goes for the guys out there as well. I have known a lot of men, because Proverbs 18:22 does say that a man is going to see and discover, who his good thing is, who this partner is going to be for his life. So I think that men a lot of times do kind of feel a stirring pretty quickly towards that. But if a man is mature, he is not going to share that with a woman, because that's scary talk when you've only known each other for 2 weeks. Not going to share that with a woman until he gets to know her a lot better, and there is an appropriate amount of history there in which to, drop that bombshell. By the way, I think God said that you are, my wife. My husband did that to me. We had known each other for over 4 months though, and he said, I really do see us getting married someday. We were not in a romantic relationship at the time, but we had enough history as good friends and as people that were going through this divorce, co-parenting kind of cycle together, helping with each other's kids, and, really trying to learn our new normal, that I was able to also respond to him in kind and say, I think that that's a definite possibility. And then that was the foundation of us beginning to say, let's walk this out and see what this looks like. Let's go from friends to more than friends and see if we can sustain that. And guess what? 16 years later, we can.
Here you are. That's great. Wow. So
it's the proof that it was right? It's the proof that it was right.
Yes. I love the idea of
Eden,
waiting to give that word.
So let's talk about that. If someone's praying, or they're like at some kind of retreat or whatever, and they feel like someone gets highlighted to them, like this is your person, right? And you begin to internalize that hope that this is your person. And maybe you didn't even think of them that way, but now you're starting to look at them differently because of this thing that you think you felt. So let's go back to that ancient wisdom. It says that a word should be what? It should be confirmed through what? The mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. And that's not you getting together with your girlfriends and saying, you think I'm right, right? No, that's taking that and giving that back to Holy Spirit and saying, hey, if this is truly coming from heaven, if this is a true download, then I'm giving it back to you. I'm going to release it. And then I'm going to ask for confirmations to come from outside of myself. And this is not top of the mind confirmations where you're looking for what you want to be true. That means that, they come and they hand you something at church, and, they look you in the eye and you're like, oh, that's a confirmation. No, it's not. It's not a confirmation. It's you now reading all the signs wrong because you want to find evidence to make this accurate. You have to truly release it. Right? You have to release it. Let's look at Mary. When the angel appeared to her, he told her something really bizarre. He said, you are going to be the mother of the Messiah. Remember, she was a teenage girl who grew up in a culture that was waiting for the Messiah. And now she's being told that she's the one that's going to bring him. I mean, you guys, you have to really put yourself in that position of, whoa. And I know that, there's an angel showing up, but some of y'all think angels showed up to you and told you that Brad over here is your husband. So I get how we can have a supernatural moment And for all of the revival stream chickies out there, you have lots of rolling in the gold dust moments. And yeah, awesome, amazing. But a lot of times you can come away from there a little flibberty gibberty, right? Let's just be honest. We can. And we can zig when we should zag. And there's all kinds of stuff that happens. And so I love what Mary says next. She says, be it done unto me according to God's true will in his word. And then she just let it just be pondered in her heart. What's that word mean? Let it be discerned and confirmed in her heart over time, right? And I think the next confirmation, of course, was a baby started growing in her belly. And, and so allow that thing to mature, allow it to gestate, allow God to confirm it with signs following. And if it does not happen, it doesn't get confirmed, let it go.
Yeah, and grieve, right? I think for me, when I was in that situation, I let it go, I thought. But then when I was married and I was in a really difficult situation and hard things were happening, I would go back to thinking, oh, I should have married that guy. I'd never really severed that tie. And I don't really know how to do that. But and then once I was divorced, my immediate thought was like, well, maybe it should be that guy. And of course, it's not happening. I've learned since how to sever that connection and to grieve the loss of what I used to think should be. And I've taken on the mantra of like, well, if not that, then better, And so I want to know from you, because again, I grew up with the idea of like, you only date the person you're going to marry, which really is dangerous. And so I want to know from you what your thoughts are on like, should we be dating a bunch of people? Should we be going on many, many dates with a bunch of people? Like, what does that look like? And what's your advice there?
So I think that the word dating is an antiquated word, and I think that we need to get rid of it. If we can get rid of it, I think that would be great, because dating in the olden days used to mean something very different than what it means in the modern days. Okay? It means, back in the olden days, if you were dating someone, you were courting them to marriage. People didn't just mess around with dating. If they were in relationship, a committed, exclusive relationship with the opposite sex, it was because they saw that person as a potential person for them to marry. Okay? But that's the way it worked. There was definite, immediate romantic interest in that situation. Like, they weren't dating people that they weren't romantically interested in. Nowadays, people go on dates with people that they don't even know. They don't have any type of history with, right? You met on an app, you met online. In fact, they're a virtual stranger. They're a stranger to you. This is unnatural, isn't it? And that's why we can't call that a date. Because if we can't call it a date if you're going to frame a date as romance. Because you don't know this person. You have no history with this person. You can't have a romantic date with this person. You're just getting to know them right now. And so if you meet them within community and you have the chance to get to know them over time, then you might be able to go on a real date with them because you know them, they know you, and you're not going to be going out with each other unless you think that there's a romantic possibility, like the olden days. If a guy asked you out in the 1980s, it's because he was sexually attracted to you and wanted to kiss you at the end of that night. That is what happened back then, right? And the 50s, and going steady, go steady with me, this is like the precursor to marriage, going steady. We're exclusive. I gave you my jacket. I gave you a ring, maybe a promise ring, not the purity kind of promise ring, but back then they gave, there were pre-engagement rings, and there were all kinds of different things back in the day. I like that time better, Eden. I'm just going to be honest with you. But at the same time, I know the Ancient of Days has ancient ways, and that's what we try to do in my communities. We try to do community-based matchmaking. We try to let people get to know each other in community so that they can make educated decisions about who is going to really fit that desire for them, as far as, having a partner in life. But the rest of you out there that are just on the dating apps, all right, you're trying to meet people, you have to meet a variety of people. And you cannot think of this as romantic rejection if it doesn't work out. These are not romances. All right? They're not. They're not interviews either, so don't treat them like that. They are just hangouts. They're just meetups. They're just you getting to know other people in an effort to get to know yourself So Eden, if you got set up on 5 dates, if you met 5 guys on a dating app and you got to a first date with each one of them, some of those dates would go really, really great, and some of them would not go so great. And at least one of them, the odds are that you would just pretty much be cringing, never wanting to see that person again because they were rude, they didn't fit your value base, and they let you know right away, like by saying, hey, let's go back to my place and have sex. So you could go ahead and just vote that dude off the island immediately. And guys that are watching, same with girls. If we think that women don't come on strong like that to men on dates, you're wrong, because it happens, okay? For sure. And so hey, this person's not going to be a match for me for partnership someday, to get married. They're not going to be a match. So I can just say, hey, thanks for hanging out. I hope you find what you're looking for. Good luck. Goodbye. And sometimes you can bless them and block them, because sometimes that's necessary. But what about the people that, you were super attracted to? You definitely hope that he asked you out on a second date. You told him you had a good time. You're hoping he picks up that and wants to see you again. You're hoping it's mutual. That's awesome. But what about the just okay dates, right? They're just okay. No fireworks, but also no like bless and block kind of vibes either. And so give them another chance. 2, 3 dates. If they keep asking you, go again, because they might grow on you. And I don't mean grow on you like a fungus or a mold. I mean, you might start putting down more of your walls, and you might start seeing them put down more of their walls. That's what growing on you means, is that you actually begin to show each other more of your real, true selves. And that is what we're going to be truly attracted to. And so it's a numbers game, Eden. If you don't go on that 5 dates, say you only went on 1 date with Prince Alarming over here, and then you're like, oh, I'm done with this. I'm not going to do this. Yeah, you got to get some guys on your roster, girlfriend. All of you out there. And you're like, well, what if I can't get a guy on my roster? Then let's work together to find out why. Because there's 8+ billion people in the world. If you don't think someone wants to go out and hang out with you and go on a date with you, then you're just in the wrong place, digging wells where it's not going to rain. That's all. We just got to figure out what it is. And Eden just said, I don't know how to break a soul tie. Well, guess what? I do. And I haven't even read the dating books. I've never even read one dating book in my entire life. And so we can help you get out of your own way, get out of God's way, because I believe that everyone who wants to be married can be married, and not just to some person that they settled for, to someone who really
I love that.
is a match made in heaven for them.
Yeah, and just as a little personal
This has turned
testimony,
into
I read through.
kind of a mini little session. I said
Hey,
this has
hey,
turned
I'll
into
take
kind of
it.
like a little mini session.
Yeah, this is great. I love it. So I actually read your book, Married in 12 Months or Less, and I broke some agreements I had made about don't find me attractive, all the things. Yes, see, there it is. I'm going to link it in the bio to Amazon and to Barnes & Nobles. And anyway, I read the book and I felt so free, because I had been carrying around this like, oh, I'm overweight, like men don't find me attractive. They're looking for whatever, all the things, and that are not me. And then within 24 hours, I was asked out on a date. And then a week later, I was asked out on another date. And I thought, oh my gosh, something's happened. So definitely, ladies and gentlemen, read the book. This is not just for women. You definitely should be reading the book and in the community. And as soon as I'm going to be joining your mentorship program, which is amazing. But I want to ask about one more disqualifier that we tend to put out there. And I just want to know your advice, because I'm in a more charismatic stream, and a lot of my friends are, and in all of the Facebook groups, charismatic singles, there's a bunch of them. People tend to say, I have to marry someone who's also charismatic. And I'm growing up and maturing a little bit, and I'm thinking, do I though? So I want to know from you about that, as far as faith is concerned. When you're looking for your spirit mate, do they have to align completely theologically and doctrinally, I use that the word, with you in order to be a good match? Or what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts are, people don't have to come from the same place as we've come from. They just have to be going the same place that we're going, right? We have to be willing to go together. We have to go together. And so if you are someone who is following hard after Jesus, you're a Christ follower, I hopefully this is your testimony. It's my testimony. I don't believe the same things. The things that I believed 5 years ago have evolved into what I believe now. And 5 years from now, I'm going to believe something different. A year from now, I'm going to believe. And I'm not talking about fundamental things like, Jesus being the Son of God and, the finished work of the cross being what has reconciled me to my righteous identity. And it's all about Jesus and it's not about me. I'm not talking about fundamental, good news gospel kind of teachings. I'm talking about all the other stuff. There are Christians, like a lot of times I'll go to an event and I'll be like, okay, is this the Christians who drink, or is this the Christians who don't believe that don't believe in drinking? Or are these the dress wearing Christians, or are these the pants wearing Christians? Or are these there's so many diversities out there that all kind of fall under the Christian faith. Are these the snake passing around Christians? Or not? Are these the snake Pentecostals? Or are these people still do this stuff, And I've had the ability to go to a vast variety of denominations, Presbyterians and Methodists and Pentecostals and Lutherans and all the things. And what they all have in common is they all believe, once again, that their salvation is in the finished work of the cross. And so that makes them Christians. But if you're a Christ follower, if you're someone who's going to continue because he's doing a new thing, and he's continuing to go forward and forward and forward, and you're evolving, then you should be matched with someone who wants to do that. If you're with someone who they're only going to believe what they've been taught in Sunday school when they were a kid, no matter what the denomination of Christianity is, and that's where they want to camp, and that's where they want to stop, and that's what they want to teach their children. And even though that information isn't really working out for their life, but they don't want to dig deeper into understanding more of what God may have meant, or rightly dividing that, or growing in grace in that area, then that may not be the right match for you. But if you're one of those people that also is just like, yep, this is what I believe, and this is my story and I'm sticking to it, then that might be a good match for you. And that's why it's important for us to understand that just because you wouldn't marry that person doesn't mean that your girlfriend who believes the same thing as them doesn't want to marry that person. Let's not judge other people's choices based on our spiritual IQ. And so if you have a high spiritual IQ and you want to keep growing and growing and evolving and evolving and evolving, like that's how I am, you better marry someone who's willing to go on that journey with you, because it's a rocky road. Okay? And so that's kind of my answer to that is equal yoking, first of all, has to do with both of you believe that Christ and the finished work of the cross is the salvation way. That's it. And you in the grace of that. And so after that, it depends on, where you want to go from there. Are you going the same direction? Are you going the same direction? Do you want the same things? Is your spirituality going to be the post, the mast that you both tie yourself to during this marriage? Or is it just something that you do on Sundays? Because if that's the case, you better marry someone that's like that too. Because otherwise you're going to feel like you're driving and dragging them for the rest of your life, and you don't want that. And of course, when people are like, well, what about an unbeliever? Is that even a question? Because I don't believe in unbelievers. I believe in pre-believers. But if you feel like it's your job to evangelize them, then you probably have gotten the cart before the horse. If it's your job to, you can show everyone that you're around what it looks like to be part of the family of God with your kindness and your love and your grace and your empathy. And if that leads into them becoming a believer and that leads to a romance, cool. But if you're going after them with the romance first and then trying to do that, I haven't seen that work out well very often. There's a handful of times that it works out well, but it's kind of like, it's a little bit like a crapshoot, right? And so I definitely don't recommend that.
Wow. Okay. That's really, really good for me to hear, because I do feel drawn to lots of different kinds of people. And my struggle has been my brain telling me, no, we have to check him off, because like red X on that one, because he's a different denomination. So I really appreciate that advice. And I do appreciate this basically coaching session. So I have one more question for personally.
Okay.
I have designed a shirt for the podcast. And I am about to go to a conference, a faith-based conference, and I want to wear this shirt so badly, but my friends tell me it reeks of desperation, but I think it's super cute. And it says, single and ready to mingle. and it's like super flowery and super pretty, and you'd actually have to read it to see. And I got inspired to make that shirt because I had seen at the same event years before a man saying, "Looking for my missus," and I thought, this is amazing. I want to do that too. So I've designed this shirt and I'm wanting to wear it where there's going to be a bunch of Christians around, What are your thoughts? Like, is that desperate or is it fun?
So first of all, I don't think that wanting to be married is desperate. I don't think that wanting to meet your partner is desperate. And I really want to talk to all the guys and girls out there that are so afraid of, of being portrayed as desperate, of being portrayed as, someone who's needy, someone who's looking for a human person because their relationship with God's not strong enough. God gave you the desire to partner. We are better together. And so if we would all just come out of isolation, out of the dark, and admit that to our friends and to our family and to our communities and say, you know what, I'm no longer going to be ashamed of this God-given desire. God gave me this desire. I'm not gonna do unhealthy things to get it. And by the way, wearing that shirt is not unhealthy. It's very cute. And guess what? Because you want to do it and because it makes you feel so excited and you saw the guy doing it and you weren't like, oh, he's desperate. You're like, oh, how fun. So your spirit mate, the person that God would choose for you, Eden, would think that's fun too. Because you guys would think, you would be someone who, the things that you do, he would think were cute, not eccentric, right? And so I'm a very eccentric person, and my husband thinks that all of my eccentricities are super cute and fun and sexy and all the things. And I'm like, okay, because other people are like, so you like I said before, you don't need to attract everyone. You only need to attract one. And the people that look at you and give you side eye for that, those are not your people. They're not your people because you know the intention of your heart. It's not desperation. It's fun. It's inspiration. That guy inspired you at the last one with his shirt, and you were inspired to do the same. And so you only need to attract someone who really is into you, Eden, and really likes the way you roll, right? And so I just want everyone out there to know that it's okay to admit that you want this. It's okay to say that, that you believe that God created you for this and that it's going to happen for you. And if there are people around you that don't want to applaud and clap and cheer for your love story, those are not your people. They're not your people. They're probably dealing with bitterness and hurt and their own desperation or their own despair over this or their own bitterness over this. And, we need to speak healing over them. But at the same time, do not allow people to drill holes in the bottom of your boat. Go ahead and rock your boat, see who falls out, and just go ahead and leave them there. Okay? Because it's time to move on to the things that God has for you. And don't worry about them. Someone else will pick them up. Another boat will come along and pick them up. But you can't allow people to stop you from kind of following the beat of the cadence that God is giving you right now in your life.
Wow. Well, thank you, Jackie. I so appreciate your
I want
time.
to see a picture of you in that shirt.
You know what? I think you're going to be where I'm going to go. So I will come up to you in that shirt. It's going to be great.
Okay, and we'll take
everybody,
a picture together.
Yes, yes. And then I have an Etsy store because I designed the shirt. It's amazing. Anyway, okay, so everyone, Jackie has so many books. She has sounds like another book coming out. She has this relationship coaching, and last year's single is a challenge that she has. It's free for women or for I think men too, right? Is it for both?
Yeah, JackieDorman.com, y'all. JackieDorman.com. You can find everything you need. My book is available everywhere books are sold. My Heart Workbook is available. It's just only on Amazon, and it's in a new edition. But I really do recommend you joining a Heart Work course. Don't try to DIY it. Let us coach you. Let us help you to get success. We want to help you, and guess what? We're good at it. So come. We would love for you to join our community and our family.
And then be married and then get to go to other conferences and read other books for other things that come up. So, wow. Well, bless you, Jackie. I so appreciate you. I can't wait to see and read your new book. And I so appreciate your time today. So for now, we'll say goodbye. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye, Eden. See you soon, everyone.